Cracking people, it's your man Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, representing high-level technicians operating globally and beyond. So listen, today I wanted to add some angle to the previous podcast that I uploaded the other day regarding how women can scan and analyze a potential interaction with a man from a distance off. But before I do that, I want to give a brief preview of an upload that I placed on Patreon for the technician and journeyman level. Gentlemen, understand that things are definitely heating up at the Hot House. This is the second installment in the Masculine Masters Sexual Toolkit series. And let me tell you, this one covers the women's side. This is the part one to the women's side of sensuality and sexuality and how a man should approach the woman's erogenous zones. To be honest, there are thousands of micro erogenous zones on a woman. Science has discovered and mapped out how the average woman has between a 20 to 75% higher level of sensitivity over the course of her body than does a man. So with that in mind, let's go into the 5 top erogenous zones that I've identified. So gentlemen, as always, a link for the Hot House, aka the Patreon site, will be in the description. And for my adept and apprentice level Hot House operatives, do not fret. I am including an extended preview of this particular upload over on the Patreon side, so go ahead over and check that out. But without further ado, let's continue with this particular upload. And what that sort of sparked, because you know what, yesterday, let me give you a background. Yesterday I had a conversation with a woman who is pretty cool, to be honest. She's a professional therapist, and you know, I bounce ideas off of her from time to time regarding male and female interactions and what the modern mating scene looks like. And you know, our conversations can get pretty deep. And what I try to do is, you know, besides get a free therapy session, I try to pick her brain regarding what the landscape looks like. You know, the modern landscape looks like in terms of how women view men and how men view women. And you know, I always coming to these conversations with my own sort of historical lens and what some of my experiences have taught me. And I like to, like I said, bounce these thoughts and ideas off of her because, you know, she's a practicing therapist and yet she has an extensive background and case study log to compare statistically what I put out there anecdotally from some of my experiences. So with that being said, our conversation, like I said, was a result of the previous podcast that I posted regarding how a woman more or less qualifies a potential mate or a potential roster position or a man and how she will position him in her life. So basically what I started out the conversation with was first, you know, I showed her the video and I said, see, look at this. Men and women, this is another example of how men and women are fundamentally different. Because with men, we add up the elements of a woman to qualify her for the approach. But with women deduct the elements of a man to disqualify him from approaching her. Now, all of this, you know, makes sense it will make sense after I break down, what the elements are, and I'm going to do that first. I'm going to do that in this video right here, and basically I'm going to go over the elements that a man add up for a woman in order to qualify her for the approach, and then I'm going to show you what elements women deduct from a man in order to disqualify him from approaching her. Now, pay attention to the language that I'm mentioning, and notice that, a man, I'm using these examples, and this is the example of a man who's confident, who has, his self-actualization together, things about him that give him the ability to approach a woman. But also notice language when I mention a woman, because she's deducting elements that would disqualify, allowing the man to approach her. All right, keyword there. So without further ado, let's get into the men's side. So the first element that a man will add, and I'll assign a number to this, is a woman's face. So on average, I'd say the average man gives a woman's face a value of 10. Right? That's the top possible score that he can give a woman. Then you have the size of a woman's waist, and that's, I'm going to put the 8-8 video link below, because that hip to waist ratio is a key factor, even subconsciously, for a man in determining how or whether or not he's going to approach her. That's also a value of 10. Then you have a woman's weight. That's a value of 4, because obviously her overall body composition, factors into whether or not a man's going to approach her. Then you have a woman's breasts. That's about, a +5. Add 5 to that. Then you've got her ass. That's a +6. Then you have her legs. That's a +3. Then finally, you have her hair, and that's a +2, and that obviously varies, with the man's background, his cultural disposition, what he has been, behavioralistically over a period of time, taught or learned to like in terms of a woman's hair or her, hair's adornment. Okay, so you take those factors and you add it up: 10, 10, 4, 5, 6, 3, and 2. You get a score of 40. All right. Now, 40 is a significant number. I won't break down the science of that or even the esoteric nature of that. Just know that the men out there who are aware and can break that down know the significance of the number 40. Now, let's go to the woman's side of things. This is how women meticulously deduct elements from a man in order to disqualify him from approaching her. All right, starting with his frame. Okay, a man's frame in terms of a woman's desirability or attractiveness to him are basically composed of these elements: the shoulders, chest, back, abs, and arms. Those are the fundamental structure that comprise a man's frame. Okay, and when a woman is disqualifying a man, she will deduct 10. So a man starts out with a -10 on a woman's list of elements that she uses to disqualify him from approaching her. Second, you have his haircut, which will be a -2. Third, you've got his height, which will be a -4. Then you have his shoes, interestingly enough, which is a -3. Then his hands, which amount to a -1. A woman doesn't want a small hand man anyway. Then you've got his eyes, which are a -3. Then his clothes, which obviously qualify as far as status and, whatever uniform this man has, to reference Ron Wills and BGS, the man's clothing cite his station in life or his socioeconomic standing. So that's a -7, which is pretty significant. His bulge will be a -4. His scent, which means that he's gotten close enough to be in a proximity to where she can smell his scent, is a -3. And finally, his walk is also a -3. So when you put these elements together or add up these deductions for the woman's side, you've got 10 or -10, -2, -4, -3, -1, -3, -7, -4, -3, and -3. You get a -40. So obviously this was a thought out sort of equation, and on both sides you've got 40. But on the man's side you've got a +40, and on the woman's side you've got a -40. That's because the very nature of high value or attractive individuals, high value men and high value women, point to men being the positive symbol or the active force, and women being the negative symbol or the passive force. I won't get too esoteric, I won't get too scientific or in-depth on this, but just understand the very nature of the interactions on the modern mating space have not changed in the hundreds of thousands of years that we've evolved. Society has changed. The rules of engagement have changed, as they always will. However, the fundamental factors that go into why men are the ones that approach women and why women are the ones who wait to be approached are timeless. I'll post another upload that further brings this point home, in my opinion. But as for now, leave this out there for your dissection, your comments, and your questions. And as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying stay sharp and mission focused. Later.